This is a special episode of the Subject Matter Minute. During these uncertain times brought on by COVID-19, your state government is attempting to do what is required of them to bring the pandemic under control. Things are ever changing, and the Subject Matter Minute will try to keep you in the know. And now, today's special episode of the Subject Matter Minute. Hello and welcome to another loosely COVID-inspired episode of the Subject Matter Minute. I say loosely because this really is a subject that's important no matter what's going on, but it is COVID related because so many more people are using video conferencing due to the pandemic. After my last episode on best practices for video conferencing, I got an email from the person who is this episode's subject matter expert. Her name's Jo Otterholt. Jo is a deaf resource specialist with Outreach Library Services in Casper. And she gently and kindly reminded me or pointed out something that I think a lot of us overlook. I'm guilty of it. I think I do really well with the Subject Matter Minute. However, I also design websites, I design e-learning, I do video conferencing a lot. And sometimes I'm lazy or maybe uninformed. I shouldn't be uninformed. And in the back of my mind, I know some of the things that I should be doing, okay? But sometimes it's easier to just plow ahead and get the job done. Well, I'm not going to talk about websites or e-learning today. Today, I'm going to share with you best practices for video conferencing accessibility. Before I go on, I want to mention that I actually have two subject matter experts today. All right, I also received some input and resources about accessibility for the visually impaired from Laurel Henry, a vision outreach consultant with the Department of Education. So thank you, Jo and Laurel. I really appreciate it. First off, I want to say that doing these things will actually make the video conferencing experience better for everyone involved. Okay, and once you know what to do, it's not all that difficult. Okay. In talking with Jo, I also learned a bunch of accessibility tips for face-to-face meetings or trainings and that sort of thing. But today I'm just going to go over accessibility for video conferencing. Okay, first thing, please find out from the people who are needing the accommodation what they want. Okay, there's a wide range of abilities out there, and you won't know what they need until you ask. Next, if there are going to be presenters giving presentations live, and if they have documents such as PowerPoint or Excel or Microsoft Word, please make sure you send out these documents before the conference, okay? And please send out plain text versions of presentations in advance. This will allow a participant who has low vision or is blind the ability to follow along with the electronic format or prepare a Braille version to follow along with, to read as it goes along. If the conference is a meeting that doesn't have any presenters, then an agenda would help a deaf individual follow along with the meeting. While the country, and honestly our household, has been a little Zoom crazy since the pandemic began, Zoom is actually not what we should be using at the state. Google Meet has incorporated live captioning into their system, and Zoom has not. There are some ways to make it work for Zoom. There's some add-on software, there's some services, but honestly, it's complicated and not something I want to go into right here. And there's also probably maybe a system or two out there that does it, but we have enterprise access to Meets at the state. So Meet should be the go-to system that we use. Live captioning is not only essential for the deaf or hard of hearing employees of the state, it could also be very useful for those who English is perhaps a second language, or for anybody who's in a loud environment. One oversight on Google's part is that if you record the meeting, which you can do, the captions don't show in the recording. I'm not sure why. Hopefully they'll figure that out someday. But if you need captions in the recording for afterwards, I suggest uploading the video to YouTube. YouTube will automatically make captions for you, okay? And then you can actually copy and paste the captions to create a script afterwards as well. Next, a deaf person needs to see the speaker well, and the speaker needs to be creating good audio. Okay, this means that the speaker should be close to the camera and close to the microphone. All right, some deaf people like to read lips, and the audio quality needs to be good for the captions. All right, so if you have prepared presentations, please either have a designated seat where the presenter goes to, or you could pass around the laptop that has the camera and the microphone that you're using. All right. Now, if this is more of a meeting, especially one where there's a group of people in one of the conference rooms, it's helpful to have a moderator who can announce who's talking and summarize what they said, or maybe repeat their questions or comments. When considering the visually impaired, remember to describe things that are in your presentation. Okay, so instead of just saying, look at this graph, you should describe the graph. In 2010, the total was 400. In 2020, the total was 1,000. Describe what you're showing. All right, on that same note, if you play a video during a conference, before you do your presentation, play the video with your eyes closed and make sure that there is enough commentary in the video to know what's going on. Okay, if not, you may need to add commentary during your presentation. If you are offering the video and the materials after the presentation, please take some time to make sure that they're accessible. Okay, add closed captions to the video. Again, YouTube can do that for you. Okay, and get out any materials that you promise. Okay, there are a lot of little things you can do out there, but these tips will definitely make your video conferencing more accessible. Please check out the show notes below. I have a list of things to consider, as well as a couple websites that'll help you out. And remember, the most important thing you can do is communicate with those who need the accommodations. Find out what specific things they'd like you to do, okay? And no matter what, even if nobody in that conference needs it, we should be incorporating accessibility into our video conferencing. All right, that's it for today. I would say see you next month, but I've been making a lot of these, so we'll see you next time. You have been watching a special episode of the Subject Matter Minute dealing with the effects of COVID-19 on the state of Wyoming. Check your email for more special episodes dealing with this issue. Thanks for watching the Subject Matter Minute.